I'm going to do a few polynomials here. Hopefully this will help a little bit. Basically, when you see a polynomial function in expanded form, you need to get it factored so that you can actually go graph it. Now, don't think synthetic division is always the answer, or P's and Q's. Just get it factored, and I can see a GCF there. So for this problem, we have f of x equals, let's take a 2 out and let's take an x out. So if I take a 2x out, that'll leave me with x squared plus 3x and then minus 10, which is awesome because now I can factor that. So this is equal to 2x times x plus 5 and then x minus 2. So basically, what is this? I got all of my zeros right here. They come right from my factors. So I have a 0 of 0, a multiplicity of 1, and that's going to cross. I have a 0 of negative 5, multiplicity of 1, and that's going to cross. A 0 of 2, multiplicity of 1, so we're going to cross everywhere on here. The other thing is, we keep talking about this end behavior. Well, we can see that this is right here, x cubed. So basically, what's the end behavior? It's going to be x cubed function, so it's going to go like that. All right, so going to our graph now, we just want to plot these. We have 1, 0 there. We have 1 at 1, 2 right there, and then we have it at negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. We know the end behavior is going to go here and there, and I'm not going to write the crosses because they said they would cross at each. So there it is. All right, so that's how we would do that problem. Next, try something else here. Let's look at this one. So this one does not have a GCF. So what we got to do is think about the P's and Q's to try to find some of those zeros. So put the coefficients in here, 1, 2, negative 9, negative 18. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, plus or minus P's over Q's. Well, that ends up being just all the factors of 18 because the coefficient's 1 for this problem. So plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, there's a bunch, plus or minus 3, plus or minus 6, plus or minus 9, and then plus or minus 18. All right, so let's just try this. Here we go, switch colors. And try 1. Let's just go down our list. 1. So I bring this down, I get a 1. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 times 1 is 3. This becomes a negative 6 times 1. Nope, doesn't work. All right, so I erase. Look at that fancy erasing. How about I try negative 1? So I bring down and I get myself a 1. 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. I add down, I get a 1. 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. I add down, I get a negative. Not going to work. All right, so no ones. So no one's going to work on this one. Okay, sorry. 2. So I bring down, I get a 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. That's a negative 1. Not. Now, if you're still like wondering, well, why isn't this working? It's because we're not getting 0 as our remainder. All right, so here we go. Drop down the 1. 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. Now we got ourselves a 0 when we add down. Now we have a 0. Now we have a negative 9. Now we have a positive 18. And we do get our remainder of 0. So cool. That means that, switching to green here, that means f of x is now going to be able to factor it a little bit because negative 2 is a 0, which means x plus 2 is a factor. Well, here we go. These are the coefficients that are left. So I started with x cubed, so now I power down to x squared. So I basically do x squared, I'll just show all the work here, plus 0x minus 9. Well, guess what? 0x is just basically not there. So that says x squared minus 9, a quadratic that I, know how to factor. So f of x is equal to, we have x plus 2, and then we have x plus 3 and x minus 3. All right, I'm not going to go graph all these right now because I'm pretty sure we're getting comfy at this phase. Go back and look at the solutions if you need to know how to graph that one, but I want you to be comfy getting to the factored form. All right, one more here. Plus or minus, lots of stuff. So plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 4. Sure I don't miss any here. Plus or minus, what are all the factors of 64? 3, 6, 4 times 16, 8. So we got 16, maybe I'm missing some here. By the way, if you always want to get them, you can just do this. Just start dividing by 2. 64 divided by 2 is 32. 32 divided by 2 is 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8. Divided by 2 is 4. Divided by 2 is 2. So I did miss 8 there. I went too fast. So plus or minus 8 is in there. 16 is in there. Obviously plus or minus 32 and 64. All right, so we got to try something here. Here we go. Got our coefficients, 1, negative 4, negative 12, 64, and negative 64. All right, let's try one. I don't know, try one again. All right, let me switch colors so we can see this. So 1, Always bring down the 1. 1 times 1 is 1. That's a -3. Back there is a -3. This would be a -15. Multiply back. That's going to be, this is not going to work. So I'm going to back it up and try -1. So we just, I don't know, you can pick whatever numbers you would like, whatever's comfy for you. -5, I got a 5, that'll give you a -7, that's a 7. Remember, multiply back, add down. Once you notice in your brain that it's not going to work, try a different number. How about 2? Bring down the 1 times 2, then we got -2 times -2, which is -4. This is giving me -16 times 2 is -32, which gives me a +32 times 2, it's giving me 64, and we found it. That's awesome. Okay, so now I'm going to switch to this, and we have now found, once again, that 2 is a 0. Listen to the terminology. So then x minus 2 is a factor. So then we can use these coefficients that we just found for x cubed. So x cubed minus 2x squared minus 16x plus 32, and we've made progress. Okay, now we're going to try it again, but we're going to use the coefficients of this smaller polynomial, this power down polynomial. So minus 16 and then just a 32 there. So we definitely want to carry down the 1 first. All right, so what do we want to try? Well, we've tried 2. We keep going through this, so we can try -2. 1 times -2 is -2. -4 down, so that would give me a +8 here. And then I would get a -8 adding down, which is a +16. That's not going to work. So we can jump to 4, and we can try 4. So there's 4. 1 times 4 is 4. This will give me a 2. 2 times 4 is 8. That'll give me a -8. -8 times 4 is -32. That's a 0. That's life is good. So now we'll go over here. We still have our factor of x minus 2. It's still there. We just found a new factor of x minus 4, and then using these coefficients right here, we started at cube, so now we're down to squared. So that'll be 1x squared, and then plus 2x, and then minus 8. And now we can factor that. No need for synthetic division. So now we got x minus 2, x minus 4, and then x, factoring this, plus 4x minus 2. And then one more thing on this one, doesn't happen all the time, but we have a multiplicity on this 0. So it's the same 0, we want to write it as x minus 2 quantity squared, and then x minus 4, x plus 4. Okay, and then how do we graph that? We're going to touch it, this 0, cross, cross, you can look at the answer key and